when do you really need to scale up? So there are like three different things we talk about. There's something called growth, there's something called scalability, and then there's something called sustainability. Growth is something related to where you want to increase the number of leads you have, clients you have, increase the revenue, increase the how many people you want to impact, increase the number of clients you want to help. And then the next stage is scaling. Scaling means, do you even have a capacity for this growth to happen, right? Like, and then sustainability is, can you, like this growth which is happening, can it be sustainable? Can it be consistent? Can it happen couple of times? Can you hit that $80K per month every month? Can that reoccurring revenue happens every month? That is sustainable.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Create Your Life. I am your host, Simone Leah. So I just wanted to let you guys know that today's interview is actually an interview that I recorded about a year ago when I ran an online event called the Soul-Led Entrepreneurs Summit. It was a really, really, really wonderful event. I had some beautiful, amazing speakers talking about things like connecting with your intuition and how you can use that in your business, how to do Facebook advertising, how to do marketing as a soul-led entrepreneur, all of these cool things to do with business, entrepreneurship, and actually also spirituality and connecting within. And so these interviews were so wonderful that I really wanted to be able to share them with you now. So if when you're watching this, you see or hear the word Soul-Led Entrepreneurs, this is still the Create Your Life show, but these interviews were just too good for me to keep to myself any longer. So I really, really, really hope you guys enjoy this interview, and I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone and I'm your host. Today I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Priyanka from Scale Up with Priyanka. Priyanka is the host of the top 100 global ranked leadership inspired podcast called Show Up with Priyanka on iTunes. Priyanka's mission is to help multiple six-figure and more impact-driven and heart-centered entrepreneurs to scale up and build sustainable and predictable businesses by leveraging smart systems, empowered teams, and streamlining operations in their business to make more impact, more income, and eliminate chaos. So today was an amazing conversation about scaling up and leveraging operations teams and systems, which was super awesome because we got to take a bit more of a deep dive into what that actually can look like for each level. Priyanka broke down who you would need at different income price points, what size team you could need, what sort of software you can use with that team to help you run things. And honestly, it was just a really great conversation about giving you some really great places to start, no matter where you're actually at in your business. So I literally loved this conversation. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. Take some notes, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone and I'm here with Priyanka from Scale Up with Priyanka. How are you, Priyanka?
Doing awesome. It just got better talking to you, Simone.
Yes, it's so exciting. I am literally so excited to talk to you today because we're going to be talking about the topic of scaling up by leveraging operations, teams, and systems, which I'm super pumped to talk about because I feel like a lot of people need a little bit of help in that scaling up department. But I would love to start by asking you the question of, what does being soul aligned in business mean to you?
Wow. So soul aligned in business, such a powerful question, Simone. And I want to say that for me, like even starting a business, like something which makes my heart like really happy, right? At the end, when I'm sleeping, what I'm thinking, am I grateful for all the things I did or the impact I brought to others? Did I help others in some way? Like that is soul aligned business for me. And does it align with my core values? So that is what it means to me.
I love that. I love that. And I love that it comes up to like being aligned with your core values and making sure that you are in alignment with who you are, what you want, but also that it lights you up and that you're happy to think about it. So that is
Totally.
a great answer.
Thank you.
So scaling up, how do we do this? What if you're, so say for example, you're a solopreneur, you've been working in your business for a few years now, you outsource a couple of little things, like you outsourced the design of your logo and a couple of little things like that. But generally speaking, you don't have a team. You just kind of do your own thing.
Mhm.
What would you say?
Yeah, I feel like as a visionary, as a CEO, when we start our businesses, we are wearing all different hats, right? You're like thinking thousand things at a time, right? You're thinking about marketing, you're thinking about sales, you're thinking about like the delivery, the fulfillment, client experience, giving the VIP glove service. You're thinking of about everything like client fulfillment, client delivery, invoices, finance, like there's so many pieces, right, to business. But I feel like when do you really need to scale up? So there are like three different things we talk about. There's something called growth, there's something called scalability, and then there's something called sustainability. Growth is something related to where you want to increase the number of leads you have, clients you have, increase the revenue, increase the how many people you want to impact, increase the number of clients you want to help. And then the next stage is scaling. Scaling means, do you even have a capacity for this growth to happen, right? Like, and then sustainability is, can you, like this growth which is happening, can it be sustainable? Can it be consistent? Can it happen couple of times? Can you hit that 80K dollar per month every month? Can that reoccurring revenue happens every month? That is sustainability. But before that comes scaling, do you even have the capacity to deliver what you promised? And in there, Simone, I talk about something called rubber band effect. I'm not sure, have you heard about it?
No.
Okay, so rubber band effect is, for example, let's say you have a monthly recurring revenue of like 40K, right, every month. And then next month you did like 60K. And then you went next month, like third month, like 80K per month. And next month you went and sold, like you did amazing marketing, you did ads and everything, and you probably had a 120K monthly recurring revenue on that fourth month. But what you realize after selling all these products, whether it's your services, products, or offers, or e-commerce, any kind of business, after you even sell it, you realize that you don't even have a bandwidth, you don't even have a capacity to deliver that. So what happens, next month, you again go back to that 40K per month. So that's the rubber band effect. Like you can sell as many services, you can have more clients, but if you don't have your back end strong, if you don't have a well-oiled business running, then you can't really deliver that, and you can't give that client fulfillment or client experience we talk about. So that's why scaling comes back to like, do you have the back end strong? So there's like two parts of our business, front end and the back end. So operations is all around back end pieces. Now this back end pieces, I'm sorry, I went a lot of tangent there, but do you have any questions there, Simone?
No, I love this. I love this. Keep going. This is
Oh,
great.
okay. Yeah, so front end will be anything which is client facing, right? So it will be your marketing, the marketing they see in different platforms. It could be anything with respect to your sales, the sales call they go on, or the sales page they see, right? It could be anything with respect to like a client relationship, like CRM, client relationship management, what do you call software, or anything you use to do the client fulfillment. Those are the pieces. Then you might have customer service, right? Those are the pieces which client says, but what are the pieces they don't see at all? So that is the back end. The back end pieces might be coming up with new products and offers, coming up with your, like looking at your finances, like how is your monthly looking, how is your weekly looking, how is your cash flow looking. It can be your back end system, what work you have to do to make sure that marketing in the front end happens, right? Or it could be your sales system. What are the things which is happening in background to keep everyone aware of what is the client journey look like? So those are the backend pieces, or R&D, right? Which comes with R&D or like visioning or all that pieces, but those are the back end, and then you have the front end of the business. So scaling is really like looking into your back end and making it really strong so that you can have like a very strong and sustainable business in a longer run.
I literally love that. Like, that's amazing. And I totally agree with you that a lot of people, they kind of go, all right, I need to have 600 people in this reoccurring monthly membership to make the money I want to make. But they don't actually think about whether or not they have the capacity to actually
Mm-hmm.
look after those 600 people. So I literally love that. So what I would like to ask is, what would you kind of leverage first? Would you be outsourcing the back end tasks or the front end tasks? So,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah,
would you just be leveraging whatever you like to do the least?
oh yeah, it's interesting, right? I think because when we are talking about soul aligned business, right, there are certain things which lights like the I want to use your terminology which you used at start, like lights you up, right? And there are some tasks which you're like, oh, I don't even want to breathe. Like they're like, I don't even want to be in front of the camera. I don't even want to be, but those are important for your business, right? To be in front of the camera. Um, I feel like as a business owner, sometimes we can be bottleneck in our own business, because if you are one person, a solopreneur, right, who is wearing all different hats, you can only grow so much, right? You need help, you need support. It's same as like when you are going to have a baby, you need the whole village to come to help you, right? You want your mother, you want your mother-in-law, you want your husband, you want every one of them to like they contribute so important part in your life to like take care of the baby and for you to like heal your own delivery after delivery. So I feel like same in the business, when you start like looking into like serving more clients, creating more impact in this world, because you're a visionary, you have big dreams, you have big vision, but to really make it possible, you need to think about what is my workload looks like. So I always tell the clients I help, I normally help very heart centered, impact driven, so like community focused entrepreneurs who are already at their multiple six figure level. So I go in as their operation expert, as their director of operation, as their right hand person. And one of the things I ask my CEOs to do is like do a workload tracking. That means write down all the tasks you do daily, weekly, monthly, like write down all of those tasks. Even if you have a team member, ask them to write those tasks daily, weekly, and monthly. And after that, for each of those tasks, have like a drop down. Like this can be a simple Excel sheet or it can be a paper pen, right? Like really ask yourself, does this energizes me or does this deplete me? If it energizes you, then ask, okay, do I want to do it by myself? Am I the only one who can do it? Or is it something which is repeatable in my business? Like getting on a sales call might be a repeatable task, right? And maybe you have certain kind of questions you ask, but of course that is something which CEO will delegate at the last, because they probably want to connect with their clients, right? But for example, something like social media posting, right? Like you don't have to do lives every day. You can have them pre-recorded and you can hire someone to post it and it will still look like a live. There are so many different software to do that, right? So like thinking about taking each of these tasks and then really deciding which energizes me, which doesn't, and then the ones which energizes you, really decide, okay, are those the one I want to keep it to myself, or is it something I can delegate it, or is it something I can automate it, right? A social media post can't be, it can be a manual task which you do, like you go on Facebook and post it, but it can be also done through softwares to automate it or schedule it to be posted in future. And then do this task for yourself and even team member, and then create your own organization's chart. So in that organization chart, you look into, okay, I'm the CEO. What are the other different people I need to hire or rehire? Sometimes we hire someone to do everything, right? But then you also think about whom I can delegate this task, like this social media, whom should I delegate? Some of scheduling or your own email management, whom I can delegate. You don't have to do it. You can delegate, you can hire an EA to do it, right? And I always say, don't hire to like, because sometimes people think like, oh, it will make my business easy if I hire. But I always say that even before hiring, create your own standard operating procedure, how you do it, right? And then you hire, then it becomes easier for the person to come on board, and they exactly know what to do and they can do it perfectly. And so that's what I will say, like, have a workload tracking sheet, start recording all the tasks you do, and then deciding on whether it energizes you or depletes you. If it energizes you, keep it to yourself. If it depletes you, either automate it, delegate it, or like just eliminate it. Like, for example, if you don't like to do laundry and you know the laundry will take like 1 hour, probably just give it to a laundry services, right? So yeah, just dividing your task around that helps.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's amazing. And I love that you came from that place of what depletes you and what doesn't deplete you, so you
Mm-hmm.
can make that decision from a place of wanting to really like nurture your soul and have your actual being be happier. So if you can get rid
Yeah,
of things that
totally.
deplete you, yeah.
And yeah, I also feel like, and even when you're hiring someone, Simone, I always feel like, since we're all such a soul aligned individuals, entrepreneurs, like you can't really do a copy paste of job descriptions. Like, I feel like we need to hire someone who really aligns with our core values, who we are. And there are people out there who are perfect match, because I do also hiring pieces for CEOs. And I always find that one unique person which will match the energy of my CEO. And they just work together so nicely, because I feel like hiring can't be stressful. It is very easier when you have a very unique job description laid out, which really tells what is the characteristic you want in this person and what you don't like to have in a person. If honesty is very important to you, if candor is very important to you, list it out there. List out your own core values, your own core mission, your own core vision. You don't even have to say vision, but mission. What is your mission in this life? And what are your own core values? And what are the core values of the company, your brand? Because when you list those out in a job description, you attract the perfect person, the right person to sit in the right seat.
Yeah. I literally love that. And I think if you can get clear on the sort of person you want to hire, that is the sort of person you're going to attract. Whereas if you're just like, I just want
Totally.
a social media marketer, you get all the social media marketers. But if you're like, I want a soul aligned social media marketer who X, Y, and Z, just in a way that aligns with you, not necessarily to do with what their qualifications are or what their actual location is, or not even
Mhm.
taking any of that into account, just actually finding someone who actually wants to work with you and grow your mission. That's
Yeah.
so important. I think that's just such a big thing that people don't think about. They just kind of go, you know what, I'm just going to find someone to do that social media. Doesn't worry me who they are. They just need to have this qualification, you know. But sometimes
Yeah.
the person without the qualification who's just keen to work with you and learn is 100
Mhm.
times better than the
Right.
person who's just doing it for a job. So I totally
Totally. And I always say that, like, I did talk about something that energizes you and deplete you, but there's also one of the categories to also like distribute your workload is to look into what are the revenue generating tasks, right? If it is a revenue generating task, maybe you as a business owner might still have to do those, right? Because you have to decide by your own, what is my own hourly rate? If your own hourly rate is $100, then you don't want to do a task which is you can outsource it for $10 per hour, right? So like really understanding how are you leveraging your own own values too. Like, what is your own true value that you bring to your clients? Maybe uh, a revenue generating task is to, if you are a copywriter, then revenue generating task might be to be on that sales call to do that, get that new client coming in, right? That will bring you more. Revenue compared to like doing a social media post, which a social media manager can do it, or executive assistant, hiring an executive assistant who can do your travel plans, uh, and or they can do your like what do you call they can do any kind of scheduling or canceling. Like you don't want to spend time on those day-to-day operation which can be repeatable. You can create a system, a standard operating procedure around it, so someone else can do it.
Yeah, and I just want to throw into anyone who's doing anything interview based as well. Definitely outsource things like getting bios, headshots, that sort of stuff is so easy for someone to outsource. And then if you're plugging that into something, say a website or a PDF or anything like that, you can also outsource that content just going into a template, you know? So there are
Mm-hmm.
so many little things that you can outsource that people might not necessarily even think about. And it could just be as simple as doing the reach out or the refining of the details. Or as you said, like, you know, you could outsource, you could just get a template made that you like. So it
Mm-hmm.
is coming from you, but leveraging the use of someone actually filling that template. So there's so many little things that people can think about and look at. So, what
Mm-hmm.
are some things that you would use to do that? So, for example, Canva's a great way if you want to
Mm-hmm.
create templates for social media, or Trello is a great thing to use if you want to have your entire workflow mapped out for your team. What are some of the tools and things like that that you would recommend people use to help them level up?
Yeah, so some of the things I normally discuss about, like having systems for the like systems or workflow around the things you're already doing, right? So for example, if you have a task, right? So around that task, who is doing that task? If you are the one who is doing the task, then create a standard operating procedure. Now, how to create that? So I would say, like, if you're the one who has been always doing it, then just write down all the bullet points. What is the high task bullet points? And then if you're going to delegate it to someone, they can actually create like a subtask for each of those bullet points. And that can be done through like a Loom video, a audio, or a text. And then when you create this standard operating procedure, use a template like, okay, answer what are you talking about in this standard operating procedure, and why this is important, how you're going to use it, what are the assets you have to use. Sometimes we have to use some checklist, right, to to get through that standard operating procedure to support that. For example, a social media post might have a different checklist, right? Having a headshot ready, having a bio ready, having a show notes ready. So having a checklist to go with that standard operating procedure. And at the end, you want to do quality assurance. So I am an engineer, Simone. So I am very much about like processes and like workflow, but making sure that it makes sense. You don't want to just create a standard operating procedure and not make sure that how do you make sure that it's a correct one, how it is getting done correctly. So having some kind of a quality assurance at the end where you say mark it right, so that you need to empower your own team to like do this task. They don't have to come to you for like getting approval, because as a business owner, when we start, we are what do you call employee in our own business. And then when you hire someone, you become a manager in your business so that you can delegate it to others, and they have like a work instruction and a SOP to do the task. And then the next level for business owners is to actually have the leadership in their team who reports back some of the team reports, how they're doing. And the last one is to completely offload it. It's not even in your radar to check it because you have department heads who are taking care of it. And as a CEO, when you are actually starting to delegate all these pieces and actually starting to scale up, some of the ways I tell my CEOs to like really make sure that things are getting done is using like project management tool. So whether that's a Trello or Asana or ClickUp or Teamwork, Then also using some kind of like a communication tool. You don't want to have all the communication in emails, like have a Slack communication. Um, then I also talk about like having a money management, because sometimes as a CEO, we want to make decision from emotion, make from numbers and data. So I always tell my CEOs to have like some kind of like a bookkeeping, have a bookkeeper, use a tool, use softwares like either QuickBooks or Zero, and hire a bookkeeper. So I would say some of the pieces you can, or tools in your businesses, will be like a communication tool, a project management tool to make sure you have projects, you have a signing date, a due date, so that task getting done. And then money management tool, that is also a good way. So those are the some of the pieces to have in your business. And also a CRM, which is like a client relationship management, so that your fulfillment is not taking a backseat.
I literally love all of those. Thank you. That's amazing tips. And there was one thing you mentioned that I'd love to talk about. So you get a lot of those entrepreneurs and they start hiring out and getting their team, and their team ends up being 6 people or 7 people or however many people. And then
Mm-hmm.
they're just literally spending all their time checking work. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that you mentioned getting someone else to do that quality control and checking that work, because I think that when you're wanting to get to that next higher level, there is an element of you having to trust the people you've hired to do the things you've hired them for.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
someone, for example, does have that team of 6 and every single person is reporting back to them, how would you say they start to get their mindset around having someone in between those 6 people and themselves to do that quality control and checking? How would you suggest someone goes around getting to that place within themselves? Because that's a trust thing, I think.
Yeah, so I always talk about like the level of trust increases as the level of responsibility increases, right? So when someone comes into your business, normally they are like, it will take some time to build the trust and relationship, right? But there are different levels you go through in the trust relationship. Maybe you start first, like just doing the audit of the person who is already reporting to you. What are the pieces you're doing? And then the next stage will be to give them ownership after you see that they are doing the great work, giving them the ownership to make the decision, but still come back to you to get the full approval. And you might reach a stage in your own relationship with any of the team members coming in where you like fully trust their opinion, you fully trust that they can do it, and that's when they become like a leader in your department or in your company. And what I suggest, if you are a business owner who is from 0 to 250K per year, and if you want to like bring on someone to do your operations or do that team communication between you and all the other team members, I always suggest you start with, let's say, an executive assistant at start. Have an executive assistant who will communicate with the team and let you know what's going on. And this executive assistant can be your operations assistant. The next stage will be to have like an online business manager. They're also the ones who will like do project management, but implementation. And then the next stage is director of operation, which I normally am director of operation with different businesses. So I do a lot of strategy. So I do strategic planning for the next 12 months, and I look into 7 different business objectives. And this is from your products and offerings to your finances to your scaling, which is like what are the teams we need to hire or whom we need to hire next, or looking into client experience, um, operations efficiency. So we look into all that as a director of operation. And this next level is the COO, which is like when you're above 1 million or more. So I always say like start with like it's better to, because as a visionary, either you can be a people's manager or you are like, I don't even want to do team management. I want to stay in my zone of genius, which is like being visionary, being out there, being the front end of the company, being the visibility face of the company. If that is what you love, then try to have someone who can take care of your operations and someone in between you and the team. And I have done those pieces. I have managed team of 10 for one of my CEO, and I was like the medium in between the team and the CEO. And I was taking care, like I will get the vision from my CEO, and I will be the one who will be like preparing a plan around it and then delegating it to the team members and making sure I have a project management tool so that this task gets done at a certain time. And then I just meet with the CEO weekly to report back on what was done, what we have accomplished, what is not working, where we need support, so that there's only one point of contact.
Yeah. I love, 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 love that. So thank you so much. Yeah, I just really do feel like there is that little hurdle where people are like, if I stop being the person who checks everything, it's all gonna just go really badly. But yeah, I love that you're saying you can do it at whatever level you're at. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's a person who's got slightly different roles at each level as you get higher and higher up, but you still can do it if you're at a lower end of the scale. So I
Yeah.
literally love that you said that, because I do think it's so important to not get stuck spending half your day checking the team when you're the visionary who wants to grow, and you can't really grow if you're spending half your day checking your team. So
Yeah, and especially like spending time in your day-to-day operations. Like as a CEO, that should be the part, your day-to-day operations delivery, that should be something your team can take care of. And you're able to focus more on bringing more business in, or doing those sales call, or going on a podcast, or going on a shows to bring more business in. So like, yeah, really leveraging like what are the tasks which is more revenue generating tasks, like really focusing more as a CEO.
yeah, absolutely love that and totally 100% agree. So, when I hear you talking about that sort of stuff, I do wonder whether some people are going to feel a little bit overwhelmed because they've got, Trello, they've got Asana, they've got their CRM software, then, they're having someone check this and do that. If you are in the process of setting that up, can you set it
Mhm.
up in a way that doesn't feel as overwhelming? Like, these are all things I've used before. So for me, I'm like, yeah, that's, normal. But to someone who's just starting out and who's not so system based, is there a
Mhm.
way to bring those processes in without completely overwhelming their brain?
Yeah, yeah. I always feel like we can simplify things rather than more complicating things. And I love when, I think you should always start small, right? Really start small and like look like, I say this like every 7 weeks, Simone, like do like a audit. Can you take a week off? And if you can't take a week off, can you take at least a day off? So, and then really analyzing what are the areas you have to improve to really leverage that taking off those days. So doing this kind of like having it in your calendar to do a every 7 weeks audit, and then looking at the improvements, like looking into, okay, workload wise, what are the pieces? What is that one piece I should delegate, right? And if I delegate that or automate that, how many hours I will get back that week? And if I get that week, that many hours back in that week, what I can do during that time, right? And then the next piece is looking at the workload first, right? What you can do. The next one will be to look into like your processes, right? What are the things you're already working on, and like start what you call just recording it. It can be easy as or like video recording, right? Like just setting up some processes, like that can be simplified way, right? Because if you already have a standard operating procedure, a video telling exactly how to do this piece, you can delegate it to others, right? And then the third piece is whom you need to hire, or if you already have a team, what you can train them on, right? Or delegate them on. Like before even outsourcing, can you do it in-house, right? But if you're a solopreneur, I always say hire a executive assistant, because executive assistant will take away all those small pieces which take up so much of our bandwidth. Sometimes even sending an email can take up so much time, right? So I would, if you're a solopreneur just starting out, I would always say like hire an executive assistant, which can take away those small pieces, those repeatable tasks, which you don't have to spend time on. And another thing is you can start with something like a Trello board, and it can be one Trello board where you talk about this like a week's task. Okay, so just talk about what is the this week's focus, what are you working on, and what are you working on in progress, and then what is completed. Like just having these three different boards and like just putting tasks there, and then having either you do it or your team does it. Hopefully that answers your question, Simon. But I'm just trying to find what are the simplest ways to do things. And then using your calendar, scheduling, whenever you have to get some things done, schedule it. Like, and like really prioritizing your mornings, because for me, morning rituals are very important. Like planning, very important. If I don't have my morning rituals done, then I don't have, like, I might burn out during that day because my schedule was not planned, what I'm going to do, right? But if you are a CEO which comes up with ideas all the time, you're like, oh, I want to do like shiny object, right? I would always say, like, have a schedule where what you are working on, and also to see whether this new idea coming in, is it aligning with the goals you have for your monthly goal. If a new idea comes up, okay, let's do a mastermind, but you know that even like to do a mastermind, it will take like 3 months of preparation. So really deciding like in next 3 months, is it something which is going to align with your goal, right? And giving time to small things. Like if you're doing a marketing effect, giving marketing, like a new marketing idea, giving it more time, like 6 months or something, like giving it more time to like really show the results.
I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you. And I love that you're saying give yourself more time, because I think a lot of people think, all right, I've got to get this done tomorrow. I've got to keep up with what everyone else is doing. Or,
Yeah.
when you're being soul aligned, you need to stop looking at all the noise of what everyone else is doing and really connect in and go, okay, realistically, how long is it going to take me to get this done? 3 months? Yep, cool. And just go at the pace that you're going at. There's no need to
Mm-hmm.
put that pressure on yourself. Same with hiring people. You're not going to hire someone and then tomorrow leave them by themselves. It's still a process there. So I think allowing, and as
Right.
you've mentioned, allowing that space within yourself to develop things as they need to be developed, I think that's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing tip. Definitely 100.
Yeah, and have a lean team. You don't have to have a team of 10, right? Have a lean team. Lean in the sense you probably just need an executive assistant. You might need like a client success manager if you're doing group coaching program, like just someone to be the accountability call with the clients. You might need a social media person just to do all the social media posting, right? So I think just have as much lean team as possible, and also look into, like, I have seen a lot of people, like, what they will do is this one person does graphic designing and they also do posting, social media posting. But then if you look into how much this person is charging for like just graphic designing, if they're charging you $750 per month, right, and they're going to be working maybe let's say 4 or 5 hours in that month, or whatever is their hourly rate. I'm not doing the right math here. But let's say you're paying them $750 for that 10 hours of work or something in that month. But then maybe you can hire a virtual assistant who can take the piece of social media post, and they probably can work more hours, and then you just pay them $450. They probably will work like 20 hours for you that month, and they can do more other pieces than social media posting, right? So like really understanding like how much it costs you to have this person do certain tasks which can be done in a lower value, and also looking into all the softwares, all the system you currently have in your business. Can you save some of the money there? Can you find an alternative? Are you really using it? Sometimes we buy things, we don't even use it, right? Like looking at the small things in your operation which can reduce the expenses.
Yeah, I totally love that. It was actually going to be my next question is the staff that you hire. where would you
Mhm.
hire them from? Would you hire them all from your backyard and see them all every day rocking up at 8 o'clock? Or would you have literally like a team that could be external and from the other side of the country? And I think you answered that beautifully in the way you said, go with kind more to do with the value that you're getting out of them. So if someone can do the social media posts, which is important how they look, so
Mhm.
understandable that a graphic designer is going to cost money, but the actual posting itself, you can outsource that for relatively cheap. So I love that you
Yeah.
also brought that up, because I think that a lot of people, they do kind of feel like, all right, well, I'll get that same person to do something for me, and that person is a high pay rate because of what they're doing. Say a video editor, for example, you don't need your video editor doing something that you can pay someone $10 for, or $20
Right.
for, or whatever the currency rate is. But yeah, like, I totally love that you mentioned that, because I think that is an important thing to note. So if you did have a lean team of say 3 or 4,
Mhm.
would all these people be with you every day turning up to the office, or generally with that team of 3 or 4, are they all in different locations?
Yeah, I work with people from all different locations, like Philippines, India, US, different part of US, even Europe. So it's interesting how the world has changed, how business are growing. Like we can work from any part of the world. We just need a good internet, right? And yeah, one of the piece I really passionate about is team culture. And even if it is a virtual team, I always feel like there's so many things you can do to make sure the team feels like it's what you call, it's a tribe, it's a group of like a family, right? Having that kind of culture, and like making sure you're meeting with your team every now and then, making sure you're doing surveys, like a periodic survey every 60 days or every 90 days, sending it like anonymous surveys to your team so that you can know exactly, are they happy, what they need, what kind of training they need, what kind of system they need, is there any kind of issues that is happening in the team. So like creating that open engagement, open communication is very important. And especially when we are working on like different countries, different values, different cultures, we all have different vacations going on at same time, like being like really mindful of that, and like really developing a team culture where everyone strives.
Yeah. I love that. And I would actually love to just dive into that just a little bit. How can you develop that team culture if, for example, I'm in Australia? So, say, for
Mhm.
example, I hire someone in my team who's asleep when I'm awake and awake when I'm asleep. How can I build that culture with people who are in different countries and I don't see them and we don't talk? Like, how can I build that culture within my system so that they do feel like we're a little tribe?
Yeah, and I love that piece of question, because what I've done with my own teams, like when I go in my client's business, when I do something called one-on-one team meetings when I go in, because I want to know each of the team member, what they're passionate about, what are their own personal goals. Like I remember one of the person I was talking to, she was like she was a Facebook manager, but she wanted to write a children's book. So I connected her with one of my friend who helps others to become an author. So I feel like you need to be like, when you're working with different teams, you need to really have like team values. Like we have company values, right? We have CEO's values, we have brand values, but then also having team values, and then making sure the whole team is aligned around that, right? So team values might be collaboration, right? Team values might be empathy with each other, right? And like really embodying, when you are hiring people, to hire who values these different values, and so that you have a cohesive team which will work together. And then I feel like it's an advantage, Simone, when we are in different time zones, because when you're sleeping, things are getting done for you, right? So really leveraging those pieces. So, and then knowing which time, what time you both will be awake. And then if you know that time, then you can like it's very important before even you start working with someone, setting up these boundaries in place, whether you communicate to them or they communicate to you. What are the times you are available to talk? What are the mediums you want to communicate? Is it the email? Is it the Voxer? Is it the Slack? And then also giving them ownership to make decision for you, and then also creating a guideline or work instruction for them, like how to take actions when you are not available, right? When you're sleeping, they still, and it will take some time until they are fully on board, where they fully understand. And like giving feedback, I think feedback giving is so important when you work with different teams from different time zone, and giving it on time so that that mistake doesn't happen, and having a good approval process, right? Like there should be a workflow with when things needs to be approved by whom, because I have seen in a couple of businesses I've supported, something got posted in social media but it was not aligned with CEO, and we have to remove it. But sometimes it's already seen, right? You can't remove it, and it actually had damaged the brand. It has damaged their reputation they have built for so many years, and they had to fire this person right away. So it's very important, like when we give that reign, right, to the team member, giving them ownership, make sure like they are fully aligned, they fully understand what outcome needs to be, and that outcome is clarified for them. Because I think a team member is empowered when their roles, like you clarify their roles and responsibility and give them a good standard operating procedure.
Yeah, and then they can just follow the procedure and you can just trust them to go with it. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with that. So if someone was wanting to get started in leveraging their teams and their systems today, say that's what they want to do today, they're like, I'm going to get started in this. What are top 3 tips that you would recommend to get them started?
Yeah, I would always say like the first thing which I said, the workload, right? Creating the list of tasks that you do, like a reoccurring task that you do daily, weekly, and monthly, and then deciding on what are the roles and responsibility who can do this task. If you don't have a person, create a plan to hire them, but also create a standard operating procedure around how to do that task before you even hired. So there's no burnout after they are hired, but things are not getting done or you're not getting that ROI. So I think it's very important to do that workload study of yourself, of your business. And then after you do that, then creating a hiring plan, hiring the person, and then also creating creating a using project management tool to help you to make sure like this person has a task assigned, a due date, so that things gets done on timely manner. And then also looking at your organization chart, like where you're planning to go in next 12 months, whom do you need to hire for you to help you achieve those goals. And then also creating good system in place, like backend, right? And how do you create those backend, making sure um, you have like a workflow and a standard operating procedure for your marketing, for your sales, for your client delivery and fulfillment, for getting testimonials or reviews, getting referral clients, and even like retention, right? How to have client retention. I did say a lot of things there, Simone, but I would say the 3 tips will be to like really identify what is your workload like and what are the items which are not revenue generating if you can delegate it. That is one tip. And second tip will be to use a project management tool to make sure things get done on timely manner. And the third will be, I'm just thinking about it, but I feel like the third will be like communication. Communication is so critical because we are living all different part of the world, right? So having a one communication tool, which can be simplified like a Slack communication, not your email, but a Slack communication, which will help you to make sure you have a different Slack channels for different projects or different departments, and getting the communication going there so that there's nothing fall out in your business.
I love that. Thank you so much. They are amazing, amazing tips. What
Thank you.
about a recommended resource? Is there anything that in your life you've kind of gone, yep, that was the thing that changed my life?
Yeah, so I would say there are a couple of books. One of the books is called Traction, and it's a really great book. It talks about like how to put all these systems in place and what are the things you need to have to accomplish this, like weekly tasks, what is the agenda should be, quarterly meeting, what the agenda should be. And then another thing is, another resources would be to like really leverage those what do you call time trackers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Toggle. I use Tamular. It's like a device you keep on your desk, and when you're working on a task, you just change the phase, and it records the timing on your computer and sends you a report at the end of the day, end of the week. So using some kind of like a time tracking tool to really see where you're leveraging more time and start doing your own time tracking. Toggle is one of them. That is amazing. The books I already told you, Traction. Another book is, I think, Ready to Sell, which is a great book if you're planning to sell your business in future. Really think about like how your business needs to be set up now so that in future, whether it's in 8 or 5 or 10 years, if you are planning to sell it, what are the things you need to put in your place? So that book is amazing. I am also big time on what do you call operations pieces. Another podcast I love to listen is called The Ops Authority. That will be the one I would love to recommend too.
Amazing. That's so many resources. Everyone's got to get out there and check these out. And yeah, Traction's amazing book. So totally definitely agree with that. And we'll check out the other one. So thank you. Now, if
Mhm.
people want to find you, Priyanka, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I do have a podcast called Show Up with Priyanka. It's on iTunes. It's all around leadership for entrepreneurs, and I interview entrepreneurs who are already making 50K per month or more. And we talk about leadership. We also talk about how to scale your business, how they're building their business. That is one place, Show Up with Priyanka podcast. Then you can also find me on, like, you can go to my website, scaleupwithpriyanka.com. And also, I'm on LinkedIn, Priyanka Khandalkar. I'm on Facebook, Priyanka Khandalkar. I'm on Instagram, Priyanka Khandalkar. So, yeah, you can find me there too.
Amazing. So many places, which is so good. And I love that you have your own podcast and you're on LinkedIn. It's nice. People will be able to find you, which is so good. And it has been so, so fun to catch up with you and talk to you today and just get a really deeper understanding of what we can do to start to leverage up our systems. So I really value this conversation. I'm so grateful that you are here. So thank you so much for your time.
Welcome, welcome, Simone. And I will be sending you a PDF to help others more with their operations and giving some kind of like a template to help them with that.
Amazing. Thank you. I will definitely link to that. I'm sure everyone will get so much value out of that and just as much value as they've got out of this conversation. So thank you so much. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Simone. You are awesome.